The drama concerning Nasreddin Nabi and Kaizer Chiefs continues. This is like the fourth day of the drama. Really the third day, because it all started on Sunday with Sunday Times reporting that Nabi will be leaving. And now there is a story that also corroborates, whichever word is correct, this thing. And also the way that the family answers the question when it's presented to them. And we're going to look at all of those things in this video and actually find out what is actually happening, and not to mention what Nabi himself has said, which, depending on how you read it, it doesn't look good. So let's start with the interview that the Chiefs management did with Robert Marawa last night. By last night, I mean Monday night. So Robert Marawa, point blank, sits across Kaizer Mtaung Jr. and Jessica Mtaung, and he asks them, simple question. There are rumors, just like they had been asked in the morning, there are rumors that Nasreddin Nabi is leaving Kaizer Chiefs. What is happening? And this is the answer from Kaizer Mtaung Jr. The coach is contracted to us for another year. That's a fact. We know that. But the question is Nabi staying or going? He says the coach is contracted to us. The coach is part of the plans of the future. And Jessica Mtaung comes in and she says, oh yeah, yes, just to add, obviously there will still be a review and we got him the players that he wanted. And right there, that's a lie. They did not get Nabi the players that he wanted. No, they didn't. They did not get Nabi the Anderson Cruz, the left back that he wanted. They did not get Nabi the backup, at least, of Anderson Cruz, which would have been Fawaz Basadin. They did not get Nabi another right back. They did not get Nabi the players that he wanted. So the fact that they are now saying we got him the players that he wanted seems to me like a character assassination of sorts, to say that if he says that he doesn't have quality, we already got him the players that he wanted. So he's failing to do that. So if he's leaving because of a different reason. And then Nabi, on extra time on Super Sports, they ask him, what is happening? And says this. He says, I wouldn't be honest if I say that I'm going to stay if the club doesn't allow me to get me all the tools to succeed next season, because they have promised that right there. I will continue reading. And myself, I have promised the fans that I want to build a successful team that will compete in every competition to win trophies. And then it continues to say, that's a condition for me to stay. Condition. So now there are conditions. And then it continues to say, because I don't feel that I want to go through what I went through this season. I saw my coach almost taking his pants off, ripping his pants off, because a player failed to control the ball. If I was a coach, I wouldn't want to go through that. So he's saying there's a condition. The condition is they must give him the tools that he needs to succeed. He has the technical team, but it doesn't have the players that he wanted. So what he wants from the team is for them to give him the tools that he needs. But Jessica on Robert Marawa said they've given him all the players, or they've given him at least the players that he wanted. Now, obviously, people are going to say, oh, Mbili, you're just being negative. Even Bob Stake did say they're going to beef up the squad. Yeah, they will beef up the squad. Chiefs will definitely make signings in June. That's not even a question. Are they going to make subs? Of course they're going to make signings. The question is, who wants those signings? Who called for those signings? Like, for example, Nabi, people will say Nabi is the one who signed Morris from SuperSport United. But the question is, was he the first choice? People are going to say, for example, Bongani Sem was signed under Nabi, but was he wanted by Nabi? Because we've talked about Anderson Cruz being the one that Nabi wanted. We've talked about Fawaz Basadin being the second that Nabi wanted. And then now, after that, it was Abu Bradley Cross. And it wasn't even, by the way, it wasn't even Bongani Sam. It was Bradley Cross, even after Bongani Sam had been signed. So that should tell you something. And then you have players like Abo Morris. What was the coach supposed to do? We can clearly see that the high press. I made an example in the previous video about the fact that Kaizer Chiefs in the previous 3 big matches have used high press to win the ball back, against Sundowns in the semi-finals, against Pirates in the first in the league, against Pirates in the finals as well. High press winning the ball back. So that's a profile that fits a certain aspect of Nabi's game plan. But not everything, not the goal scoring part which he needs from his strikers. Right? And then we move on to the story now from Itiski Times by Usnatemba Makongo. So Umakongo says that Nabi was told before the final that he won't be like coming back to Kaizer Chiefs. Now, this story kind of agrees with the story that came out from the Sunday Times, because even the Sunday Times was coming across at, okay, Nabi is not coming back. And they, as I said, that story was supposed to drop a day after Chiefs was supposed to lose a Nedbank Cup final. But since that didn't happen, it still dropped in any case because it was still true, not because it was dependent on whether or not Chiefs would have won the Nedbank Cup. It's just that I think it would have made much more sense for it to drop after Chiefs had lost. But then that didn't happen. But it was still true because Makongo is now saying that Nabi pleaded for another season. But now that's a contradiction on its own, because if he's the one who pleaded, why would he plead for another season if he knew that they were not going to give him quality? Well, the story itself answers, because Makongo then continues to say that actually Nabi pleaded, but he said they need to get him better players because he wants to continue with the project. So one of the few things that I'm learning from the story is a few things. One, Nabi still wants quality. Whether he pleaded to stay or whether the management don't want to buy him quality and they're saying you must go because we won't get you better players. Whichever way you slice it, whichever way you look at this, one way or the other, you still have Nabi saying, I want better quality, and Kaizer Chiefs are saying, no, work with the quality that you have. And people are going to say, if you're a coach, you must be able to work with what you have. But the truth of the matter is, if you are going to give me a tall striker who's very good aerially, that means me as a coach, I must now change my style of play to suit the player rather than have my own system and have the players all suit the system. And people will say, but the coaches should work with what the team has. But that is why the team should then create an identity so that it's going to be easy for coaches when they come to the team to find the players who are close to the profile that they need, because the profile of the playing style of the team, like the club as the technical team, not the technical team, as the sporting director, he has decided how the team is supposed to play. As the squad or the hierarchy, I mean the hierarchy of the club has decided want to play attractive football. So these are the players that will recruit, such that whichever coach that we get will be able to work with the players that we have. But you look at Chiefs right now, they have players who play that type of football, but Nabi wants to play this type of football. So that is why now there's this huge rebuild that Chiefs are now having to go through, because Chiefs themselves, people are going to say, but what is Nabi's identity? Nabi's identity is to try and play the ball. Nabi's identity is to try and put pressure on people. Does Kaizer Chiefs have players who are able to keep the ball and move it around? Does Kaizer Chiefs have players who can run for 90 minutes and put pressure on you for 90 minutes? The answer is they don't. And Nabi is going to struggle. And because of that, Makongo is saying after the next 2 games that are remaining in the league, the hierarchy of Kaizer Chiefs will still have another meeting, and then they will decide what happens with Nabi. I'm guessing that will obviously depend on whether Chiefs wins the 2 remaining matches and they end up in the top 8, because if they don't win, it's almost certain that Nabi will not be at Kaizer Chiefs next season. But if they win, then maybe chances are he will stay. But even if they do win and they do make it in the top 8, we still have another problem. And that problem is called, will they get him the players that he wants. And me personally, I have my doubts. But what do you guys think? Do let me know down on the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, remember, equals Alpelumoy.